Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Right. So, how was the CAD exam?
It was easy,
Okay, because we have
hopefully.
discussed. Yeah, so we have discussed the areas exactly I wanted to uh, give you the areas that you need to focus, and if you check those areas, then definitely it should be easy.
Yes, ma'am,
Right.
it was.
Right. So let's move to today's session. So last week I was unable to conduct the class. So I have given you a recorded session, but as you told in the morning session, still you don't have access for that, but no problem. So today I will do a small summary related to that, and then I will start today's session. So we are discussing about object-oriented programming, and up to now we have discussed important theories, and at the same time we have done some practicals too. So today also I will take you through some practicals. With that, I will show you some theory parts that you need to focus when you do those practical sessions, right? So let me share the screen first. I'll start with a quote. Right. So now, first of all, you can open Notepad++ and command prompt, because we are typing codes in Notepad++ and we check outputs in command prompt. So we need these two applications in order to run these Java programs and all. දැන් අපි මෙතෙක් කල් Java related දේවල් ඉගෙන ගත්තා. ඒ වගේම Java වලට අදාළ practicals කීපයකුත් කරා. ඒ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකෙන් ඔගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා අපිට Java රන් කරන්න, එහෙම නැත්නම් Java program එකක් ලියලා output එක බලන්න applications දෙකක් ඕනේ. මොනවද ඕන applications දෙක? පළවෙනි application එක තමයි Notepad++. අපි Notepad++ already computer එකේ install කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම command prompt එක ඕනේ. මොකද අපි output එක බලන්නේ command prompt එකේ. දැන් මේ දෙකම තියෙන්න ඕනේ කෝඩ්ස් ලියලා අවුට්පුට් එක බලන්න. කෝඩ් එක ලිව්වට වැඩක් නැහැ. කෝඩ් එක ටයිප් කරාට වැඩක් නැහැ. ඒක වැඩ කරනවද කියලා අපි බලන්නේ, එරර්ස් තියනවද කියලා බලන්නේ අවුට්පුට් එක චෙක් කරලා. ඒ නිසා මේ දෙකම අපිට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ඔගොල්ලෝ හැමෝම පාවිච්චි කරනවා ඇත්තේ Windows operating system එකක්. Windows operating system එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන කෙනෙක්ගේ command prompt එක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි මම පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ Mac device එකක්. ඒ නිසා මගේ තියෙන්නේ ටර්මිනල්. එකම ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක නම් දෙකකින් තියෙන්නේ. මම ආයෙ එහෙම කියන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා කන්ෆියුස් වෙනවා. ඇයි අපිට command prompt එක ඕපන් කරන්න කියලා. මිස් මෙතන මේ ටර්මිනල් එකක් ඕපන් කරන්න කියලා. එකම ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක. හැබැයි ඔපරේටිං සිස්ටම් දෙකක් හින්දා පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස්. රයිට්? ඒ නිසා කන්ෆියුස් වෙන්න එපා. ඔයා Windows operating system එකක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් ඔයා command prompt එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න output එක බලන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් Mac device එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන කෙනෙක් නම් ඔයාට ඒකට terminal එක use කරන්න පුළුවන්. අනිත් එක තමයි ඔයාට device එකක් නැත්නම් මේවා practice කරන්න හොඳම දේ තමයි කොළවල පොතක මේ දේවල් ලියන එක. මොකද codes කියලා කියන්නේ type කරන්න ඕන දෙයක්. හැබැයි අපි මේක ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. ඉගෙන ගන්නකොට මේක ලියන ටෙක්නික් එක තමයි හොඳටම මතක හිටින ටෙක්නික් එක. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ටීචර්ස්ලා හින්දා ඒක කොහොමද දන්නා? අපි මොනවා හරි දෙයක් ලියන්න තමයි ඒක අපේ මතකෙට යන්නේ, ඔළුවට යන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මේවා ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න ඩිවයිස් එකක් නැති කෙනෙක් කන්ෆියුස් වෙන්න එපා, ඩිසපොයින්ට් වෙන්න එපා. පොතක් ගන්න, පෑනක් ගන්න, මේ හැම කෝඩ් එකක්ම මුල ඉඳන් ලියන්න. ඊට පස්සේ කෝඩ් එක යටින් පොඩි ඩිස්ක්‍රිප්ෂන් එකක් ලියා ගන්න ඔයාට තේරෙන විදිහට. මම එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරනකොට එක්ස්ප්ලනේෂන් එක හොඳට අහන් ඉඳලා ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාට තේරෙන විදිහට ඔයා පොඩ්ඩක් එක්ස්ප්ලේන් කරන්න කෝඩ් එකෙන් මෙන්න මේකයි වෙන්නේ කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයා මේක චෙක් කරනකොට පස්සේ දවසක එක්සෑම් එකට හෝ වෙන යම් දෙයකට ඔයාට තේරෙනවා මේ කෝඩ් එකෙන් මම කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේක කියලා. Right. So now I'm going to start a practical. With that practical, I will tell you some important theory parts and let's open Notepad++ with me. Right. You can go to this search bar and open Notepad++. We have already installed Notepad++, so it is available in your computer. So search Notepad++ and open it. Right. So now I have opened Notepad++. Then the next thing is we need to open command prompt. As I told you earlier, if you all are using Windows operating system, command prompt is the tool we use to check the output. So what you can do is you can go to the search bar and then type CMD and open command prompt. So in my case, as I told you, I'm using something called terminal. So I'm going to search for that and open it. Right. So now both applications there, Notepad++ and command prompt. Command prompt එක install කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. දැන් කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් හිතුවොත් මම command prompt එක කියලා එකක් install කරේ නෑනේ. මට ඒක use කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? පුළුවන්. command prompt එක කියන්නේ අපි install කරන දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක already ඔයාගේ computer එක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. right? ඔයා මොන operating system එකක් පාවිච්චි කරත් මොන version එකක් පාවිච්චි කරත් පරණ computer එකක් අලුත් computer එකක් desktop එකක් laptop එකක් මොකක් වුණත් ඕක ඇතුලේ command prompt එක තියෙනවා. මොකද command prompt එක කියන්නේ computer එකත් එක්ක ගනුදෙනු කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ commands වලින් ගනුදෙනු කරන්න පාවිච්චි කරන tool එකක්. දැන් ඔයගලන්ට experience එක ඇති සමහර වෙලාවට අර අපි කම්පියුටර් එක ෆෝමැට් කරනවා කියලා කරන්නේ. ඒ වගේම දැන් කමියුනිකේෂන් එකට දුන්නාම මේගොල්ලෝ කියනවා මම C drive එක delete කරලා දැම්මා. C drive එක ෆෝමැට් කරා. ඔයා ආපහු මේවා restore කරගන්න කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ හැමදේම කරන්නේ කම්පියුටර් එකේ ඇතුළ commands එක්ක. ඔය වගේ දේවල් කරන්න අපිට command prompt එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. command prompt එක handle කරන්න commands ගැන පොඩි අවබෝධයක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? So that is the small introduction about the tools that we are using to do these practicals and all. So now we have opened Notepad++ and Terminal. So these two files are there. So now you can start coding and then you can later move to this Notepad command prompt to check the output. So until that, you can minimize command prompt. You can fully move to this Notepad++ to type the code and all. So now you can start with a new file. You can go to File and then click on New. Here we have the new file. As soon as you open a new file, what is the next thing you should do? You should save that file because that is the most important thing. So if you forget that, then definitely it will make an error. And at the same time, it is difficult to see the features and everything given by the language or the tool if you are unable to save your document. So as soon as you open a new file, you should save it. So how you save it? Go to File, click on Save As, and then here you have the location to save your file and you can give a file type for that. So now here we have to do a small thing. So here this is your computer location. So now we can see all locations here. You can select either whatever the location you want to save this file. But in a previous video, I told you, I will close this for a moment. I told you to give the path. So I ask you to go to settings, preferences, and then default directly, and I ask you to give the path. So we already created a folder on desktop to save all these Java files. So now then I ask you to give that path to this place. So what we do here, we automatically connect that created Java folder to this application. What is this application? Notepad++. Why we do that? Then always we click on save as, it automatically go to this path. No need to go select and waste your time. So if you done that part already, so then you can go to file, save as, directly you can give a name and file type. But if you forgot to do that, then from this location you have to select your Java file. දැන් අපි කලින් ක්ලාසස් වල කියලා දුන්නා මේ notepad++ එකේ ඔයා ෆයිල් එකක් ඕපන් කරපු ගමම්ම කරන්න ඕන දේ තමයි සේව් කරන එක. ඇයි එහෙම කරන්නේ? එහෙම කරේ නැත්තම් අපිට මේ ලැන්ග්වේජ් එකේ ෆීචර්ස් දැන් ඔයාලට මතක ඇති අර සමහර කීවර්ඩ්ස් බ්ලූ කලර් වෙනවා පර්පල් වෙනවා එතකොට කර්ලි බ්‍රැකට් එකක් ඕපන් කරාම ඒක රෙඩ් කලර් වෙනවා ඒ කලර් කම්බිනේෂන් එක එන්නේ නැහැ ඔයා මේක සේව් කරන්නේ නැතුව වැඩේ පටන් ගත්තොත් ඒ නිසා කෝඩ් එක ටයිප් කරන්න කලින් ඔයා මුලින්ම කරන්න ඕනේ මේක සේව් කරන එක. Right? So how you do that? Uh, so you can go to save as, and then you can save your file here. So if you already given the location to Notepad++, then no need to select the location from here, but if you miss that part, then you can choose the folder from here. So now how you give a name? So when you give a name, you have to make sure your name is in one single word. Because if you give some spaces or any other symbols, characteristics, then it is difficult to do compilation and all. So always we recommend to give whatever the name as a single word. So here I'm going to type Q1 Java example. Right. So now is this correct? No, this is not correct. So you can see in between these two words, I given some spaces. So this is totally incorrect. So you can write it either this way or this way. Right? So whatever the method, you have to put the name as a single word. ඔයා මොන විදිහේ content එකක් වුණත් අකුරු කීපයක්, වචන කීපයක්, එක වචනයක් කොහොම දුන්නත් spaces දෙන්න බෑ file name එකට. Spaces දෙන්න නැතුව වචන කීපයක් දෙන්න නම් underscore තියලා මේවා connect කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඉතින් මෙහෙම වුණත් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? රූල් එකක් නෑනේ අපි මේ නම දෙන්නේ අපේ වැඩේට කෝඩ් එක ටයිප් කරන්න. ඔයාට ඕන නම් මේ විදිහට දෙන්නත් පුළුවන් කිසිම ස්පේස් එකක්වත් අන්ඩර්ස්කෝර් එකක්වත් නැතුව. right? Then you have to select the file type. So in this case, we are going to select Java source file and then click on save here. So now I have already done the part. So now I will give you 2 to 3 minutes. Quickly set up the environment and get ready with new file to type the code. Right. So hope you all have set up the environment to start the code. So now we can start a code. So first of all, I will teach you how to work with user inputs. You know, wherever we need to ask user input, we need to type, we need to write these kind of codes. For an example, let's assume you're going to develop a small calculator. So now before you develop the code, you should think what we are doing in a calculator. So let's say I want to add 2 and 2. So I want to add these two numbers and I want to get the answer. So this is what I want to do. So now what I do is I take the calculator, I type 2, then plus, again 2, then equal sign. So when I type that, I can get answer as 4. So this is what we are going to do in this particular code. So now first of all, we should write the code to get user inputs to the system, because we need to take what is the number or what are the numbers they are going to work and what are the operators they need to use. Those kind of things we need to take from user. So in this case, we are going to do that first. Right. First of all, we need to start the class, because without class and method, no point of writing anything in the code. So first of all, we should build the code, and then inside that we should build the main method. Then we can do whatever the thing we want. So now first, to create a class, you should type the word class and then keep a space. And after the space, you should give a name for the class. So in this particular platform, we need to give same name we given for the class. So then it is Q1 Java example. So you can give this as the class name. Same name we given for the file. And then inside this, you can develop the main method. Public static void main string args. Right. So here we have the class. Inside the class, we have the main method. Right. So now you can start the code. But as I told you at the beginning, wherever we need to handle these user inputs and all, we need to do something special. So handling user input is not an easy task. So we have so many things to consider. We have so many things to do. So here to handle these kind of things, these kind of complicated things, we have something called libraries in this language. So what we do is we call the library to the code. Inside that library, everything there you should write in order to take a user input. Very easy, right? So how we start that? First, we need to import the library. So whenever you need to import a library or import anything, you have to write it at the beginning. Before the class, you have to write that. So now we have Java, util, and then I'm going to call scanner. So scanner is the library I'm going to use to type these inputs and all. So wherever you need to handle inputs, wherever you need to take inputs, you can use scanner library for that. So this is the way you import that library, right? So you can type scanner, this is the library name, and then you have to write it with this entire statement. So import is a keyword. Java is a keyword, util is a keyword, scanner is a keyword. So here S should be capital in this word. Right. So now what we have done, we know we have to handle user inputs. We know we have to ask user input. So what we are going to do, we are going to import the library first. As soon as you open the library, you have to create an object for that. So I remember during the very first two lectures, I asked you to create objects. I ask you to assign, I ask you to create objects for 5 vehicles we have in our car park. So I ask you to do these activities in the very first tutorial. So now in this case, what we are going to do, as soon as you import a library, you have to create an object for that. How you do that? First, you have to ask the library name and then keep a space. You have to give a name for the object. You can give whatever the name you want as a single word. So in this case, what I'm going to give, I'm going to give input. You can give whatever the name you want. And equal new, again, this scanner. Right. So now this is what we are going to do with the code. So now what we have done, we imported the library, and as soon as we imported the library, we created the object for that. So this is the object. Inside this, you need to type system.in. Right. So all these are keywords except this word. Right. So now this is how we uh, arrange the setup, arrange the environment in order to take user inputs. Now you can start the code. So now think, if we want to take some user inputs, first of all, we need to show a question on the screen. Because without seeing a question, user doesn't know what they need to input. So in this case, we are going to show a question. System dot out println. Right. So let's type a question like this. Enter your name, enter your first number, because we are going to develop a calculator. Right. So now you can save this and we can check the output. So now before you check the output, you have to go to command prompt or terminal, whatever the tool you use to check the output. Right. So now you know, before we execute, before you compile, we have to set the path, because command prompt is a kind of common application for your computer, but our all files are there inside the Java folder. So you should ask this command prompt to open all these files inside this Java folder. How you do that? You can open Java folder, and then you can copy the path from here and you can paste it here in this command prompt, and then you can press enter. Don't type these things, always copy and paste. Right. So now you can check the output. In order to check the output, we have to do two things. What are the two things we have to do? First, we have to compile the code, and then we have to execute the code or interpret the code. So first we are going to compile the code. How you compile? You type javac, keep a space, and then file name with extension. Always we compile the file name. So if it is the file name, you should give it with the extension. You can press enter. No errors. If any errors, they will show right now. Right. So now you can see they have displayed my question. But I don't have any space to type my input. දැන් මෙතන මම ටයිප් කරපු ක්වෙස්චන් එක පෙන්නනවා. හැබැයි මගේ ඉන්පුට් එක ටයිප් කරන්න තැනක් නැහැ. දැන් එහෙම වෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ. අපි ඒක කෝඩ් එකෙන් ක්‍රියේට් කරන්න ඕනේ. Let's see how we do that. Again, you can open Notepad++. Here, after this question, you should create that empty line with the cursor. මෙන්න මේ question එකෙන් පස්සේ ඔයා empty line එකක් create කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ empty line එකේ තමයි user යාගේ input එක type කරන්නේ. cursor එකත් එක්ක අපි empty line එකක් මෙතන create කරන්න ඕනේ. අපි බලමු ඒක කොහොමද කරන්න කියලා. So here you have imported this library and you have created this object for that. අන්න ඒකට තමයි අපි මේ library එක import කළා මෙතන object එකකුත් හදලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් තියෙන්නේ ඒ හදපු object එක පාවිච්චි කළා question එක යටින් empty line එකක් create කරන්න. How you do that? You can take this object, copy this object and paste it here. Then put dot. After that, you should type the word next because we need next line to that statement. To get the input, to ask that input, you need that next line. So you type next and then you should think about what will be the input you're going to take. ඔයා මොන වගේ ඉන්පුට් එකක්ද ගන්න හදන්නේ? දැන් මේ question එක අනුව enter your first number. Enter your first number කියන්නේ අපි හැමතිස්සෙම number එකක් තමයි ඉල්ලන්නේ. Right? If it is a calculation, then definitely you should ask this kind of thing. Calculation එක නම් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි integers වගේ දේවල් තමයි ගන්නෙ. So you can think about the input. So let's assume we are going to take integer type input. If it is an integer, after next word, you should type int. And then put round brackets and put this semicolon to end the statement. So this is how we create that empty line. I'm explaining the same thing again. දැන් අපි මේ කෝඩ් එකේදී ඉගෙන ගන්න අලුත්ම දේ තමයි user ගෙන් input ගන්නෙ කොහොමද? දැන් අපි මේ programming languages develop කරනකොට අපිට user ගෙන් input ගන්න situations එනවා. example කීපයක් ගමුකෝ. දැන් ATM machine එක. ATM machine එකේ ඔයා තමයි user. දැන් ඔයා මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? ඔයාගේ card එක ATM machine එකට insert කරනවා. ඔයා input කරනවා ඔයාගේ card එක. එතකොට ඒක තමයි ඉන්පුට් එක. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ අහනවා පින් නම්බර් එක. ඔයා පින් නම්බර් එක ටයිප් කරනවා. ඔයා ඉන්පුට්ස් දෙනවා. අපි ඇත්තටම සිස්ටම් හදද්දී අපි ඒ වගේ යූසර් ගෙන් ඉන්පුට්ස් ගන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මම මෙතන කියලා දෙන්න යන්නේ යූසර් ගෙන් ඉන්පුට් ගන්න අපි මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. හරිද? යූසර් ගෙන් ඉන්පුට් ගන්නවා කියලා දන්නවනම් මුලින්ම කරන්න ඕනේ ලයිබ්‍රරි එක ඉම්පෝට් කරන්න ඕනේ. ලයිබ්‍රරි එක ඉම්පෝට් කරපු ගමන් ඒ ඉම්පෝට් කරපු ලයිබ්‍රරි එකට අලුතෙන් ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එකකුත් හදන්න ඕනේ. මේ තියෙන්නේ අපි හදපු ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එක. ඊට පස්සේ යූසර් ගෙන් ඉන්පුට් එකක් ගන්න නම් එයාට මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ. එයාට මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඩිස්ප්ලේ කරන්න ඕනේ. අපේ ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකට අනුව ප්‍රශ්නයක් හිතලා ඒක ඩිස්ප්ලේ කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මම ඩෙවලොප් කරන්න යන්නේ කැල්කියුලේටර් එකක්නේ. ඒ නිසා මම මෙන්න මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මගේ යූසර් ගෙන් අහනවා. Enter your first number. දැන් මේ question එක දැකපු ගමන් ඔන්න දැන් යූසර් රෙඩි වෙනවා number එකක් enter කරන්න. දැන් number එකක් enter කරන්න එයා රෙඩි වුණාට මදි අපි ඊළඟ line එක empty කරලා දෙන්න ඕනේ. එයාගේ ඉන්පුට් එක ටයිප් කරන්න. අන්න ඒ වැඩේ කරන්නේ මෙතනින්. අපි ඒකට ගන්නවා මේ වේරියබල් එක. ඒක මෙතනට දැම්මා. ඊට පස්සේ next කියලා type කරා int කියලා දුන්නා. next කියලා type කරේ next කියන්නේ keyword එකක්. ඒක type කරේ ඊළඟ line එක කියන එක පෙන්වන්න. ඊට පස්සේ int කියන එක අපි දුන්නේ මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ integer type එකේ data එකක් ගන්න. ඔයා ඊළඟ line එක ready කරගන්න integer type එකේ data එකක් ගන්න කියන එක දේ තමයි මෙන්න මේ line එකෙන් කියන්නේ. Right. So now let's see the output. You can save the code, copy the class, again go to command prompt and compile this. Right. You should compile the entire file. Type javac, give the class name with Java extension. No errors. Again, you can execute. You should always execute the class. Now you can see the difference. In our previous output, we just had this, only the question. But now you can see we have the question and after that we have the cursor. So now you can type your number. So the question is enter your first number. So as the number, you can type whatever the value you want. So this is how we create that empty line with cursor, right? So now I will give you 2 to 3 minutes. Quickly check this code, quickly understand this and type this in your Notepad++. Or else those who don't have these laptops and all, you can take a piece of paper and you can write down the code. Right. So hope we all have done up to this point. So now we know how to ask a question and take input for that. So now what we are going to do, so if it is a calculator, we need another number. So if it is like addition, so we need to take two numbers, two or more. So in this case, I'm going to show how to deal with two numbers first. Then slowly we can increase the number of values we are going to consider. So now for second number also, you can do the same thing. First of all, you should show the question, right? Enter your second number, right? For that also, we need to show that empty line with the cursor. You can take the same object, dot, next, int, right. So now at the same time, you need to ask the operator, or directly you can do the calculation, because here we perform only the addition, only the summation. So no need to ask input from user. We can just ask the two numbers and accordingly we can perform the calculation. So how you do that? Right. So now we have that empty line to enter the very first number. So this is what user used to type their very first number. User යාගේ පළවෙනිම number එක type කරන්නේ මෙතන. මෙන්න මෙතන. එයාගේ දෙවෙනි number එක type කරන්නේ මෙතන. දැන් ඔයා මේක variable එකට pass කරොත් අපිට ලේසි ඒ value එක calculation එකකට ගන්න. මෙතන තියෙන value එක තමයි ඔයා එකතු කරන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මෙතන තියෙන value එකට. දැන් අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? අලුතෙන් integer එකක් ගන්නවා. I take a new integer as num1. Right. And then for this also I'm going to take num2 variable as the second integer. So here where user type their input, we pass that value to this variable. So throughout the code, this variable hold the value passed by this line. In the second question also, we do the same thing. We ask user to type their value here, and then we pass that value to this variable. So now we have num1 and num2. So now you can print num1, it is the very first variable. Num2 is second variable. You can do the calculation. So here you can type system.out println, and then you can close this. So let's see the output. Right. First of all, you can compile the code, and then you can execute the class. Enter your first number. So I'm going to add number 5 as the first number. Enter your second number. I'm going to add 4. So now tell me what is the answer. We are going to do calculation 5 plus 4. So 5 plus 4 equals to 9. So let's see the answer. 9. You can see the answer. So this is how we develop calculators and all, right? So now please do this code and check whether you all can get the output. You can add different numbers and you can check for different outputs. Whenever you check different outputs, you have to again compile and execute, right? Finish. Right. So now we know how to ask user inputs and take them for a process. So here what is the process we are doing? This calculation. So in order to do this calculation, we should ask two numbers from user, and we know we are doing the addition. So no need to ask the operator. So we take two numbers and we perform the calculation. Right. So now what we are going to do, I'm going to teach you a new thing. So wherever we have decisions, wherever we have conditions, we have to use conditional statements in these codes. So I will show you how to do that, right? So let's take a new file, because we have discussed about user inputs in the previous code. So in this code, I'm going to tell you about how to deal with conditions, decisions in a particular code. So you can start. You can give a name. So I'm going to give Q2 Java example. And then from here, you can choose the save as type as Java source file. And then click on save. Again, you can start the class. For the class, we need to give a name. In this code, we are going to give the name as Cube2 Java example. Right. Public static void main string args. Right. In this particular code also, I work with user inputs. I'm going to ask a user input and take a condition with that. So first of all, we can import the library. If you know that you are working with user inputs, before you type any other thing, you can import this library. Right. As soon as you imported the library, you should create an object for that. Right? So here you can type whatever the name. So in this case, I'm going to ask a number. So I'm going to give the name number as the object. And then you can type new, again, the library name. Inside this round bracket, you can type system.in. So this is how we create objects. As soon as you imported the library, you need to create an object for that. Right. So now we should ask a question, because before you take an input from the user, we should display something on the screen. So let's ask their age. With that age, I'm going to check a condition and I'm going to show you how to use conditional statements and all. So if you want to print something on the screen, you can use system.out.println, and here within double quotations, you can type the question, because question is, it contains few words. If it is more than one word or more than one character, definitely you should write inside double quotation. So I'm going to ask, how old are you? So this is what I'm going to ask from user. And as soon as we display the question, we should create the next line as the empty line with cursor to type their value. So how you do that? You can do it in this way. You can ask the object to come here, dot, and then next, because we should take the next line as the empty line, and then think about the data type that we are going to take. In this case, we are going to ask their age. So if it is the age, you know it is an integer type data. So you can type int here and then close round brackets and close the entire statement. So now we have asked a question and we have given that empty line to type their value. Right. So now I'm going to show you how to work with decisions, how to work with conditions in the same environment. So now let's see, we need to do something like this. So we need to check the given age or entered age is greater than 80. So if that age is greater than 80, we are going to display that person has the voting facility. කෙනෙක්ට voting facility එක හම්බෙන්නේ අවුරුදු 18ට වඩා වැඩි කියලා හිතමු. එහෙම හිතලා අපි ඒක චෙක් කරන්න තමයි මේ කන්ඩිෂන් එක හදන්නේ. එයාගේ ඒජ් එක අපි එන්ටර් කරන්න කියනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි ඒජ් එක චෙක් කරනවා. අපි මොකද්ද චෙක් කරන්නේ? ඒජ් එක 18ට වඩා වැඩිද නැද්ද? වැඩි නම් අපි එයාට කියනවා එයාට voting facility එක තියෙනවා. අඩුයි නම් අපි කියන්න ඕනේ එයාට voting facility එක නැහැ. So wherever you have these kind of decision, you have to select either yes or no. So now we are going to check a condition. We have only one condition to check. So if you have a condition, you should type the word if. If is a keyword. Wherever you need to check a condition, you can use if for that. Right. You can give round brackets after that. So I told you we need a condition. We use a condition. So condition we put inside this round bracket. Now tell me what we are going to check. We are going to check the entered age is greater than 18. So where user entered their age? Here. So user entered their age here. But it's not nice when we put this entire statement like this inside the condition. What we can do is we can take a variable and we can assign that value to this variable. Whatever the age typed by user, we pass to this variable. So now we can easily take this variable inside the condition. So now it is there inside the condition. So let's assume user type 16 here. And then we pass that value to age. So now the value of age is 16. So here also it automatically replaces like this. So now you can check the condition and accordingly you can play the role. So now we can start the condition. So now we are going to check a condition and this is the conditional statement. So if this condition is true, what you are going to do? If only this condition is true, what you are going to do? මේ condition එක හරි නම් ඔයා මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? Condition එක හරි නම් ඔයා print කරනවා voting facility එක තියනවා කියන එක. So if you want to print something, you can use this statement and you can type, you have the voting facility. This is what we are going to display if that user is greater than 18. And now this is the yes part. දැන් user 18ට වඩා වැඩි නම් තමයි ඕක කරන්නේ. දැන් හිතන්නකො 18ට වඩා අඩුයි කියලා. 18ට වඩා අඩුයි නම් අපි මොකද්ද කරන්න යන්නේ? ඒකත් මෙතනම display කරන්න. So we use if for the true side and if we use else for false side. For else, no need to check a condition because we already checked the condition here. 18ට වඩා වැඩි නම් මේ curly brackets ඇතුළට ගිහිල්ලා එතන තියෙන දේ කරන්න. 18ට වඩා අඩුයි නම් මුකුත් check කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. print කරන්න ඔයාට voting facility එක නැහැ කියලා. Sorry. You don't have the voting facility. So this is what we are going to do. I'm explaining the same thing again, right? So now in this code, we want to take user in age as the input. So first of all, we need to ask a question from user. So now they can see this question. So after that, they will type their answer here. And then we pass that value to this variable. And we take that variable inside this condition. Why? Because we need to check their age, and if that age is greater than 18, we are going to print you have the voting facility. If it is not greater than 18, we are going to print you don't have the voting facility. So now we check that condition here. Age is greater than 18. Now let's see, this is correct. If it is correct, it will go inside this curly bracket and it will do this. So here we asked to print this. So now let's assume this is false. This condition is false. If this is false, it doesn't have permission to go inside this curly bracket because these two curly brackets belong to this. So if this is incorrect, it ignore these curly brackets and it directly go to this else. And then here we have something to print. It will do this action. So this is how we work with if-else conditions, right? So now you can save this, copy the class because we need that for execution. So now I'm going to compile the code. Type javac, the file name with Java extension. And then press enter. Again, Java and the class name. So now they ask my age. So I'm going to type 30. So now they display, you have the voting facility. So now let's try an age below this range. So again, you have to compile and then execute. How old are you? Let's type 12. So now you can see, sorry, you don't have the voting facility. එකපාර දෙකම print කරන්නේ නැහැ. එකපාර print කරන්නේ එකයි. හරි එක බැලුවා. දැන් හිතන්න. දැන් user මෙතන type කරපු value එක තමයි 15. එයා මෙතන 15 type කරපු ගමන් ඒ value එක මෙන්න මේ variable එකට pass වෙනවා. age කියන variable එක ඔයා පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ කොහෙද? එතන තියෙන්නේ 15. දැන් මෙතන age කියන එක තියෙනවා. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේක පිටිපස්සේ තියෙන්නේ 15 කියන එක. දැන් condition එක check කරනවා. 15 18ට වඩා වැඩිද? නැහැ. එහෙනම් මේ condition එක වැරදි. condition එක වැරදුනොත් මේ කර්ලි බ්‍රැකට් දෙක ඇතුළට යන්න පර්මිෂන් නැහැ. මොකද මේ කර්ලි බ්‍රැකට් දෙක අයිති මෙයාට. මෙයා කියන්නේ true condition එක හරි ගියොත් කරන දේ තමයි හැමතිස්සෙම if එකත් එක්ක ලියන්නේ. else එකත් එක්ක ලියන්නේ condition එක වැරදුනොත් ඔයා මොකද කරන්නේ? දැන් condition එක වැරදි. වැරදි හින්දා මේක ඇතුළට යන්න බෑ. මේක පාස් කළා එයා මොකද කරන්නේ? කෙලින්ම එනවා මෙයා ගාවට. මොකද condition එක වැරදුනොත් මෙයා තමයි ඉන්නේ. මෙයාගේ ඇතුළට ගිහිල්ලා එයා කියන දේ තමයි කරන්න ඕනේ. එයා කියන්නේ මේක print කරන්න කියලා. මේක print කරා. ඒ නිසා තමයි අපි 18ට වඩා අඩු age එකක් දුන්නාම මේක විතරක් print උනේ. 18ට වඩා වැඩි ඒජ් එකක් දුන්නොත් කන්ඩිෂන් එක හරි. හරි නම් එයාට මේක ඇතුළට ගිහිල්ලා මේක print කරන්න පුළුවන්. කන්ඩිෂන් එක හරි නම් මෙයා දිහා බලන්නේ නැහැ. කන්ඩිෂන් එක වැරදි නම් මෙයා දිහා බලන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට අදාළ වෙලාවේදී දෙකෙන් එකක් විතරයි print වෙන්නේ. So I hope you got that clear understanding about how to use if and else. Right. So now I will give you the time to practice this code and check whether you all receive that output. Finish. You got the output. Right. So now here what we do when we have only one condition. So here you can see we have one condition, we check that condition and accordingly we printed something yes or no. So if it is yes, if the condition is true, we did this. If condition is false, we did this. So now let's think we have two conditions, two or more conditions to check. So this is how we do that. For that, you can open a new file and then again save the file as Q3 Java example, whatever the name you can give, but it should in single word format. And then scroll down and search for Java source file because it is the file type we are going to use. And then you can save. Again, you can start the class. So now before you type the class, it's better if you can copy the class name because we need that for the class. You can type the class. Inside the class, you can type the main method, public static void main. Right. So here inside this string args. So this is what we are going to do. First, I ask an input from the user, and then we are going to check two or more conditions with that. Right. So if you want to work with user input, we should call the library. So in this case, we are going to call Java util scanner. As soon as you import it, you should create an object for that. So for that, you can copy and paste the library name. You can give a name for the object. In this case, I'm going to give num as the object name. And then you can type new, again the library name inside this system.in. Right. So now you can start the condition. So let's assume we are going to check two conditions. So we will ask user to enter a number in between 0 and 10. And then with that number, we are going to check two conditions. Whether it is equal to 0 or greater than 5. So you know when we do calculations, when we develop codes, we have these kind of conditions to check. We ask a number and we are going to check whether it is equal to 0 or greater than 5. අපි යූසර්ගෙන් නම්බර් එකක් ඉල්ලනවා. ඉල්ලලා අපි ඒවපු නම්බර් එක ටයිප් කරපු නම්බර් එක බිඳුවද එහෙම නැත්නම් පහට වඩා වැඩි සංඛ්‍යාවක්ද කියලා check කරන්න යන්නේ. Right? So let's see how we do that. You can start it with if because we are going to check a condition. Then you can put round brackets and then this is the curly brackets we use for if condition. This is for F. So this is what we do if the condition is true. And if condition is false, we are going to do this thing. So now this is for yes, this is for else. So now, as I told you, we have two conditions to check. If we have more than one conditions to check in between this if and else, you can type something called else if. This is to check the second condition. Now this is the format. This is for the first condition. If the condition is true, we are going to do this. And if we have another condition to check, we write else if, and here we type the condition. In this case, we are going to check this. Either these two wrong, we are going to do this. Right. So now let's develop the code. So now, first of all, we need to ask a question from user. How we ask a question from user, you can type system.out println. Here you can show a question. So what is the question? Enter a number between 1 and 10. So this is what we ask, but we don't know what number they enter. So it either any number in between 1 and 0, 1 and 10. So in the first condition, in the very first condition, we are going to check the given number is equal to 0. So here what we need to do, as soon as we display the question, we need to create that empty line with the cursor. So if you want to create that empty line with the cursor, what you can do, you can take this object here, put a dot, and then type the word next, because we need to create the next line as the empty line. And then you can type int, because all numbers from 1 to 7 we put under integer type category. And then you can close the statement. So this is where user type their number. So now what we can do, we can pass this value to a variable, right? So you can take a variable, whatever the name you can give. It is integer type because the expected input is integer type. So you can pass this value to this variable. So now you can take this variable inside this if condition. So what we are going to do, a is equals to 0. So now here with this condition, you have a new thing to understand. If you want to check both sides, if you want to compare both sides, if you want to check equal or not equal, you have to use double equal, right? You have to use double equal. And if you put 1 equal here, which means you pass this side value to this variable. ඔයා එක equal sign එකක් පාවිච්චි කරොත් මෙතන වගේ එතන කියන්නේ මේ පැත්තේ තියෙන value එක මේ පැත්තට pass කරා. ඒක නෙමෙයි මෙතන කරන්න ඕනේ. මෙතන කරන්න ඕනේ මේ පැත්තේ තියෙන value එක මේ පැත්තේ value එකට සමානයිද කියලා බලන්න. සමාන අසමාන බලනකොට මෙන්න මෙහෙම double equal දාන්න ඕනේ. අසමානයිද කියලා බලන්න. මෙතනට මෙහෙම දැම්මොත් අසමානයිද කියලා check කරනවා. සමානයිද කියලා බලන්නේ මෙහෙම. Right. So now if it is equal to 0, what you are going to do, you are going to print the entered number is 0. So this is what you can print, right? So now this is the very first condition we are going to check. First we check the given number is equal to 0. So now let's say it is not equal to 0. This condition is false. Then we are going to check the second condition. What is second condition? We are going to check A is greater than 5. Sorry, this is less than, greater than 5. So now we are going to type the entered number is greater than 5. So this is what we are going to print. And these are the two conditions we check. First, they check the given number equals to 0. If the given number is equal to 0, then they print this. Or else what they are going to do, they are going to check this number. When make a check karana, right? So if this is true, they are going to print this. So now both conditions false. එක 0ත් නෙමෙයි පහට වඩා වැඩිත් නෙමෙයි. එහෙනම් ඔයාට print කරන්න පුළුවන් the entered number is less than or equal to 5. So this is what we are going to check. So now let's save this and check the output first. Right. Let's type JavaC, the file type. And then they ask the question, enter a number between 1 to 10, 1 in between 10. So in this case, I'm going to type 0. No, 7. Let's try 7 and enter. The entered number is greater than 5. Yes, the entered number is 7. It is greater than 5. So now let's try another input. Right? So in this case, I'm going to give 1. It is less than or equal to 5. Yes, it is less than 5. 1 is less than 5. Let's type another input. You can give several inputs and check whether. Sorry, something happened again. Right. So this time I'm going to enter 0. Now the entered number is 0. According to the given value, they will check and they will give you the output. So now I will show you how this works. Right. So in the very first time, as the very first input, I entered number 7. So this is I entered number 7. So then they pass that value to this variable. Wherever we have A in the code, which means we have 7. So now it will replace here. Now we are going to check the very first condition. We are going to check the entered number is equal to 0. So now the number is 7. Is it equal to 0? No, 7 is not equal to 0. Then if it is not equal to 0, you don't have permission to go inside. Because if only you have the permission, you can go inside here. But you don't have to check the inside. So now you ignore these two curly brackets and you directly come to this condition. So if this is not true, we check this. Right, so now we are going to check this. So A is 7. We are going to check 7 is greater than 5. Yes, condition is true. And now if condition is true, you can go inside and you can print this. So that is why we saw this output as the very first output. Second time. Second time I entered number 1. So now let's assume we type number 1. When you type number 1, it passed to this variable. Wherever you use this variable, it represents 1. So now we are going to check the condition. Very first condition. 1 equals to 0. No, it is not equal to 0. So then we don't have permission to go inside. So then if this is false, we check the second condition. This one. So here A is 1. A is greater than 5. No, this time also the condition false. So now if this false, we don't have permission, go inside. So we again ignore this and we came to this point. So if both these incorrect, then we can print this. The entire number is equal or less than 5. So that is why we saw this output. So you got that. Now let's take the third input. Right. So now third time I entered number 1. So it passed to this, sorry, I entered number 0, I think, 0. So I pass this value to A. Wherever we have A, it will print A. So now in this case, what we are going to check whether given number is equal to 0 greater than 5 or not. So now this condition 0 equals to 0. Now the condition is true. If the condition is true, it go inside and print this. That is why we saw this output. So now no need to check these two. So that is why at a given time, we got only one output, right? So quickly do this activity and update me about the output. Right. So finish. Yeah. So I hope you all have finished that. So if you finish, I'm going to wind up the today's session. So today we have discussed some practical things. So we have discussed about how to ask user inputs and how to take those user inputs to the code, and then how to use if, else if for the code. So these are the things we discussed today. So please practice all these codes, and before you come to next week's session, please understand all these things, and you should practice these things. The understanding is important to grab the new concepts and all. So I have another thing to discuss. Actually, today I have discussed lot new things. So I think if I start that one, you will be complicated with that. Because I thought you all have referred the given recorded session and you all are here with that knowledge. But today I had to do that part as well. So we can do the new thing next week, and next week I will take you through both switch cases and loops. With that we can finish the theory part, and then we will do a revision and we can finish the class. So next week you will be having your CAT assignment for object-oriented programming. So before the CAT assignment, I will take you through the things that you should focus as we did for network subject. So please practice these code before the coming session. And at the same time, I will give you, so I have already shared those recorded sessions with you. I have given 2 recorded sessions, 2 1.5 hour recorded sessions to your coordinator. Most probably, she will share all these with you. So it is related to switch case statement and if else. So please go through that. I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for that, and I have explained all these things with those 2 PowerPoint presentation. Please go through that and come to the next session with all this knowledge, right? So if you don't have anything to clarify, I can wind up the session. If you have any questions when you practice these codes, if you have any errors to clarify during the practice and all, please take all these things into the next class, right? So goodbye and have a nice week for all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Wish you the same.